Welcome to Recovery Unfiltered. I'm Larry. I'm an alcoholic.
I am Rob. I am also an alcoholic. We are not professionals. There are no letters after our names. We know very little. However, you will hear the word God and a four-letter word in the same sentence. You will also be offended. So if you are easily offended, just pass us by. This podcast is not for you.
Our opinions are just that. If you don't agree with what we're saying, that's okay. We're going to love you anyways. We are not in any way affiliated with AA.
So sit back, grab a beverage of your choice, and get ready.
Let's go. Hello, Rob.
Hello, Larry.
Welcome back.
Thank you, buddy.
Dude, this thing's blown up.
How so?
Well, we are actually welcome back to Recovery Unfiltered. Forgot to say that.
Son of a gun. I can't look like this.
We're so unprofessional. Welcome back to Recovery Unfiltered. I'm Larry.
And I'm Rob.
If you ever want to get a hold of us, you can reach us at recoveryunfilteredrobandlarry@gmail.com. So, yeah, this thing's blowing up. And, with where we got this thing at, we've got 121 downloads on the first one. And we've got.
Is that good?
From everything we've read, everything I've been looking at, average cold start like we did is typically between 45 and 60, and we hit about 121. So God is extremely involved in this.
Which is our goal.
That's 100% why we're doing this. So we're in 46 different cities on our first episode, and currently we're about 16 different cities right now in the second episode, but that we just dropped this morning. So the second episode, which is your story, literally just dropped today.
Then we're in trouble. I'm going to chase the
hell no. Maybe. But I re-listened to that thing. I must have listened to your podcast, your story now like 4 or 5 times. And, you said something in the very beginning, and I wanted to touch on it again. When I said something about unfiltered, what does unfiltered mean to you and your response? And it almost sounds like it was rehearsed, but there was zero rehearsed about that. And your response about truth, if you go back and re-listen to that thing, I'm
drawing a blank here. If it was good, it didn't come from me. That was a God thing.
Gosh, it gave me goosebumps when I went back and listened to it the second time, because that's what this is, right? Where's truth? It's absolutely truth is what this is all about. Our guest today is going to be nothing but truth, and I've been so stoked to have this guy in our studio. Ever since we started this, one of the first things you said when we talked about this is, I'm getting Jason in here. And
when you told me what the name of the podcast was going to be,
right,
Recovery Unfiltered, I said, well, there is nobody more unfiltered than my brother, and he's got to be on here. I mean, because one, the story's got great redemption qualities.
Right.
We know him from, we've grown up.
Right.
And it's got pain. It's got everything, but the God qualities with it,
Yeah.
You just see God radiate through the man. It's just amazing. No. However, at this point, there's 2 amends I need to make before we go any further.
Here we go.
Here's some more unrehearsed stuff. Sorry. So in my story, I said my sister was part of that story. I said that she was 3 years older than me, which makes her 54. She's not 54. She was only 2 years and 3 months older than me. I was.
But is she really 4'11"?
She's 4'10" actually. I give her one then. She's 4'11". So she's only 2 years and 3 months. She is 53. She is not 54. Anyway, so that's one.
Bet you got your ass chewed for that.
Oh, buddy, sorry, sis. And amends number 2 is to the listeners, because I didn't listen to mine because I can't stand the sound of my own voice. I've listened to yours a couple times, and the one thing that bothered me was when you were coming out of, we were telling your story when you were coming out of Maynard's, and I asked, was Katie the first one to meet you like I expected? You said no, it was your brother.
Right.
And then you got emotional. I mean, real emotional. And then you kind of looked to press the pause button. I gave you the nod, like, yeah, go ahead, and you paused it. Yeah. Now, we're not going to do that no more, because this is Recovery Unfiltered. This is not recovery up until the point where we get uncomfortable, then we're going to pause it, put on our masks and our game faces and come back. Hi, guys, here we are back. No, they hear us, scars and all,
right,
or they don't hear us.
I agree with you, Rob. I kind of cut that out only because, you get to talking, and I've had speaker moments and stuff like that where you get emotional, and when you're live, you can't press pause there, right? You got to let it out.
And that may bother some people. Right. Get over it or move on. I love you to death, but because I promise you, I don't promise. I'm going to try my best, but I know his story.
Right.
I've been part of it. Yep. And he allowed me to be a major part of it. So, and it was emotional then. I'm going to try to be, but I can't promise anything. Right. And I'm not going to try to hold anything back. This is Recovery Unfiltered, not Recovery Comfort.
Right. That's a good point. A very good point. So, yeah, we are going to bring in our guest now, and we're going to I'm so excited to do this, and welcome in. Who the hell are you?
I'm Jason. Jason Allen from Waterford.
Attaboy.
Larry.
Lay it down.
Right. Yeah, so the reason why I'm so excited for this guy to be in here is because the stories that this guy and I have as kids growing up in this little town. So I am named after Jason's Uncle Larry, right? So my dad and his Uncle Larry have been best friends since kindergarten. Since kindergarten, they've been, and they still are. They still to this day. Yeah. I mean, they're like a married couple. They're just. And then Jason's dad is my dad are very good friends too because it's all part of the family. Then their sister lived across the street from us growing up. From me, well, they had two of the prettiest girls that ever came out of Waterford that lived across the street. So Jason was always over there babysitting. So I always got to go over there. Right. Some of the stories I could tell you.
I know where this is going. Wait, I've heard this story.
I'm not going to say it right here because I'm going to embarrass some people. Probably me.
It is Recovery Unfiltered, but not that.
Not that.
Proud
not
of you,
that.
Proud of you.
Yeah, I don't need to put any of that in my minutes. I was only 10 years old at the time, so
it's all good.
I was good. So yeah, so me and this guy's had some amazing time together. And I think that's why I'm so excited to have you in here, Jason, because the story how we grew up in this little bitty town, right? And we were close friends. We wrestled in the chicken coop together. We did running around together. We cut a lot of fat around here. We got in a lot of trouble around here. But for us, we had to go to high school in a different town. So when we went to a different town, right? Those group of friends that you were running around with here, you kind of jump into different groups, right, Jason?
Yeah, different. You find your kind of like social,
right,
where you fit in socially.
You find that pack you run with, and you run,
right. And that's where we kind of.
That's for me and Jason,
right,
33 years ago.
So that's
for sure,
found that pack,
and that's the funny part, right? So Jason and I kind of went different ways, and then in comes you, right? Because you're in his age group, and I'm along with this group. And then 30 some years later, I come back into these rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous to run into my childhood.
Even though we're not affiliated with AA.
Yeah. I run into one of my friends growing up in high school, and it's like we fell in love all over again. I mean, and then I got a chance to hear part of your story. And of course, my daughters and your sons were about the same age, running around together. So I kind of knew a little bit of what was going on. And obviously between your dad and your Uncle Larry, and I got to know a lot of but I didn't get to hear a lot of the story and the detail until I actually sat in a room with you. And Jason, I'm very excited. I'm going to let Rob do a lot of this talking to you today. I'm going to try to step out of the way, but as much as I like to talk, it's going to be very hard for me to step out.
Hey, Jason, you notice where he keeps the buttons.
Right.
I can't mute his mic.
Well, fuck, I control it.
Exactly.
Right? Controller.
Yeah. No kidding.
All right.
So,
Rob,
Jason,
take it away.
Pick it up here. High school. I mean, because your life has been good.
So yeah, it's been about like everything else with everybody else. You kind of grow up, go through your high school phases. I got out of high school, married my high school sweetheart.
Beautiful woman.
Yeah, we're together long, for 20 years or better, and life happens, and I got my, you just don't know any better. Right. You're young, and you're like Larry just hit the wall, a few years, but I hit it earlier, and your pride, your ego, and no one. My parents never prepared me for what was coming in life. Never set me down. I don't know if anybody's does. I do with my kids now. I say, hey.
But you've been through some life as well.
Yeah, there's some real shit coming.
And my wife and I, we don't, everybody knows my wife. She's about as unfiltered as it gets, and I love her to death. But our kids know everything. Hide nothing. And you guys take your path.
Yep.
And we've been blessed, and your kids,
Yeah. Super blessed. Super blessed now. Been through a lot to get to where I am now. But,
So what's the first wall you hit?
So the first wall was, in my right when I hit my 30s, just owned a couple houses, had my contractor's license, had a great business, never been in trouble before. The kids are wrestling, think I'm the toughest guy.
Not the kids, we're talking about Ren,
Tyler, Drew, right. We're doing,
you're doing life.
We're living, I didn't realize it at the time, but that's what, that's the American dream right there with
you,
your family.
Yeah.
And you have a great business. And it just really, it doesn't get any better, but without any, guidance and stuff, I think, my head, I think I'm the greatest thing on this planet, and, pride and ego, and I could do whatever I want. My best friend went through a divorce. And so he was coming up to where we live, hanging out with us. So I'd start going to the bars with him and stuff. And,
how was your drinking at that period of time though? Casual?
It was very casual. Right. There was no
anything else.
I was doing nothing else.
Just living,
living
and being dad, and
being dad, and just having a solid, just, I don't know, the American dream is what it was.
Right.
Northern
California.
Yeah. Northern California, Placerville, going to the lakes, Folsom Lake, just living, I had a great job. Just living, the best life.
So you start hitting the bars,
drinking, fighting, just
like
running.
we do.
Yeah. Like acting like, and honestly, I was acting like we were in high school again. When
we were doing it.
in, yes.
I get you. Well,
pointing at each other.
No, that's what it was.
Wait, there was a point where we would keep our mouthpieces, football in our back pocket, because here we go, throw them in, and But when you got Jason at your back, TJ on your backside, we're good.
Yeah, we had a whole group.
But that was high school.
But that was high school behavior,
right?
And no one told me that was high school behavior.
It's time to stop.
And I wasn't smart enough to realize that I'd never been in jail, never been in trouble, had the world at the my fingertips. Anything I wanted, I could do, and just basically went through just a major attitude. And I felt like I'd worked my ass off my whole life, and I never got to have any fun. Like, because a lot of time, like, we hung out and party stuff, but I got married at a young age and had a family and picked up the job, and we literally had a home and family. And I felt like at that point I was robbed of
your 20s,
getting to have fun. Yes. My full 20s.
My time.
Yes.
My time.
And I felt like I was owed it. And I just started, and my wife at the time would be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Fuck you. I'm going to the bar."
Right.
And it was just, she got resentment. I got, just through my ego, my head was so big. And, I did a bunch of things that I shouldn't have done. There was some infidelity. There was, just running, dude, thinking I could do whatever I want. And so, of course, she reacts in the same way. And when I do it, it's okay. But when she does, oh, hell no.
Right.
And so,
people hurt others.
Hurt people hurt others. And someone might have got shot in the middle of it. But
unfiltered,
Jason.
And I got to go to jail, for the first time at my age. And honestly, I could have basically bowed out and said, "Hey, hey, I'll do whatever you want. I'm sorry I screwed up." But I literally had such an attitude. I was like, "Fuck you, send me to jail. I will whoop everybody's ass in there."
Wow.
And that's...
How old were you then?
31.
Wow.
And I truly thought that too, until I hit.
Right.
Till I hit prison. Then I went, "Oh my God, I'm never going to make it out of here alive." And, anyways, that was the end of my, my family and the best time of my life, man. The most blessed.
Well, we'll come full circle.
Yeah.
Because
we'll come full circle. Well, no. Yeah. It's going to come full circle because at that time,
no, you're right.
I didn't realize it until I spent the past, 10 years chasing it. Thinking, damn, I screwed that up and I can never get it back, and it's gone forever. Like, and it was, but I spent after, me and my first wife's divorce and everything, I, started putting the pieces back together, got out of jail, instantly just started making more money than I could have ever imagined.
How old were the kids now? How old were,
They were, Riley was like 7 or 8. Drew was like 9 or 10. Tyler was 12, and Rim was like 13.
Okay,
or 14,
and coming right up to
right there is where
getting close to the wreck.
Yeah, getting close to the wreck, and anyways, so, the kids were just dying to be with me, and their mother had a fat resentment against me, and I still had my attitude of, I grew up a lot. I knew you couldn't just go do whatever the hell you wanted. Of course, I was on parole too, though,
Right.
but God was still working in my life. He was just letting me, he's always blessed me with the ability to work hard and to make money.
Oh, baby.
And yeah,
You
and
have
the
that
money,
gift, no doubt about it.
And it was just, and it came when I was able to buy my kids whatever they wanted, and started, and I'd never really dated. So I was,
because you married right out of high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was pretty much the only woman I've been with.
Right.
So I felt sorry for her at the time because, you grew up together. It's like
Right.
we're brothers and sisters.
Right.
Right.
Anyways,
That's okay in Waterford, though.
it is. It was okay. It was all we knew. But hey, back to that point, the one thing I didn't know, that was up till, recently, that was the best times of my life.
Yeah,
Those
baby.
were the golden, I chased the rest of up until recently trying to
Recapture that.
recapture. And honestly, when I had met you, several years back, many years, when I ran into you after recovery and everything, I started accepting I'll never have it. Like it'll be this, that was my time and it was done, which wasn't true.
Right.
But anyway, so coming out, fought hard, had just the most blessed life with my kids. Ren, Tyler, they came to live with me right away, and we just had unlimited amounts of money. And they'd missed me so much because we were super close, and just the wrestling that's all we did was wrestling camps, tournaments, practice.
Good wrestlers.
Good wrestlers.
Good looking,
Yeah.
handsome boys.
Yeah. Hard.
Were you still in Northern California at that time?
No,
he's
we
back-
were.
you were back down
I
here.
paroled to here.
Okay,
To
okay.
here, and we were going to wrestle. We wrestled for Houston with the Billy Murphy, Corey Borges era, and went to Turlock. We were all set up to go to Turlock, and I had told Mr. Noon, "Hey, Mr. Noon, I got a stud here. I want you to work with him." And he just got done working with Trevor Machado Chain, and won a state championship.
Right.
This is when all this was
Right,
happening. And I was
right.
like, "Hey, work with my kid. I got a stud here."
Right.
And he's like, "No, it's too much work. I've already done. I'm not doing it no more. It's just way too much."
Right.
And I was like, "Whatever. Okay." So our plan was at Turlock. Mr. Noon shows up with his grandson Trent at a Bulldog tournament in Turlock, and Tyler was wrestling. He just happened to get some kid from SoCal who was there that was a stud, and just went, balls to the wall with him on the mat. It went into double overtime.
Wow.
And Mr. Noon's standing there watching. I said,
Eyes wide open.
"Yeah," and his eye, and he goes, "Hey, that kid is fucking tough." I go, "Dude, I know he's tough, but Tyler's beating his ass. Tyler's hanging with him. He's
Right.
going to beat him, And he goes, "Tyler," "That's your son, Tyler?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Hey, we need to talk."
Now
He
he
really
does.
did.
Right.
Yeah.
Now he wants to talk.
Hey, and took me outside
Right.
and just right then and said, "Hey, I have a house in Knights Ferry.
Okay.
You can move into it. Come wrestle at Oakdale,
Wow.
and I'll train your son."
Wow. Wow.
And right that week, Tyler flew to the University of Minnesota for a 28-day intensive wrestling camp with Jay Robinson. And he left, and when he came back.
How old was he then?
He was 14.
So he was in freshman.
He
high
was
school.
freshman. He was going to be a freshman.
Yeah.
He was coming out. This was right before he went in.
Gotcha.
This was July of that year, and he flew back. I moved all our shit. We moved. While he was gone, he didn't want to move. He had a girlfriend over there. He was in love. It was all set.
Right.
The Blues were all excited for him to come in.
Right.
And we just up and moved. And I picked him up from the airport and told him, "Hey, we're going to Knights Ferry." He cried
boy.
the whole way home.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. But he adapted real quick. We went in there, and I don't know. As far as I know, this isn't a wrestling podcast,
Right.
but
No, this is life. This is life.
my
Right.
life. Bro.
It's
This is
life.
my
That's what we're
story.
here for.
It was, you have an athlete like that. There are very few, far
Right.
in between on this planet.
Right.
And he was that, he was that one. So, anyways, came in, unseated a bunch of kids at Oakdale, and took the varsity spot as a freshman, and went through it. We were training, just going with Mr. Noon after practice. Season was over, had a phenomenal season, kept going into freestyle Greco, applied for the national team, the USA Wrestling national team, and made the team, and we were going to the association duels team for our champion, the all-star team for this valley. And anyways, on his way there, they got a wreck. And his training partner died, Mikey Stillman, and Tyler was in a coma, fighting for his life for months. It was life-changing. That was my whole life stopped right then. Everybody's around me.
The family, that's
the family, yeah.
I mean, we're all...
TJ sat there and fought Rob, you guys were involved. Everybody was there. It was devastating, but anyways, that was the game stopper, the life changer, and
then I'll bring us back in. What condition was Tyler in that? Because Mikey Stillman passed on impact.
Yeah, so he passed.
And Tyler
had a traumatic brain injury, like a real bad one. He looked perfect as can be, not a scratch on him, but he was done.
Right.
He was,
and physically he could.
He was literally in a coma for like 4 months.
Right.
Like literally, we sat in the hospital room and watched him shrivel away and get fed through a damn little tube that didn't even feed his stomach. It went into his heart, like put proteins into his heart. And, he shrunk down to, like 90 pounds or something, and atrophy. And, it was just fucking horrific. It was horrific to watch your baby do that shit. It was.
You mind if I ask Jason, how was your drinking during this period of time?
So the drinking was cool and everything, but it wasn't the drinking. It was so right then, when it happened, like the day it happened, I was with TJ.
Okay.
And we ended up at the hospital. And that night we came, I think, or maybe the next night we come home, because I lived in the hospital with him. Like, I barely left his side. Me and his mom would barely, we'd split.
Right.
Sitting there.
Were you talking to her at that time?
Well, yeah.
Were you communicating?
We kind of had to. It was different. It was it was just fucking horrific.
Right.
Yeah. It was, I don't know. But hoping, so dude, at the time that, the doctors are telling you, hey, he's on life support.
Right.
Sign these papers that, do not resuscitate. Like, we're going to take him off life support, and fucking, and they basically said, he's going to die.
Right.
So that was hard to fucking, deal with, but whatever, dude. Watching what happened after that was worse than him dying.
Right.
But it gave us some closure, and we all, got to love on him. And
and how long after that? Because he came home.
We got to love on him a little bit. Years, yeah.
How many years did we have him?
I don't know, like four years. And he wasn't the same. It was, he couldn't walk, talk. He couldn't do nothing.
I know.
You do know. Yeah.
There's somebody, I didn't know if I wanted to get into it, because we talked about your story, about the reservoir, about him wanting to go home. Because we believe, you and I believe, he had it when he had that wreck. There was a near-death experience that took place.
His mom would tell me that, hey, he's got one foot in heaven. Like, because he would always sit there and laugh and just look at the sky and just talk.
But he would say, Dad, I want to go home.
Well, he would, and when I would interrupt him, he would literally interrupt him. He's like, he was in, his mom, I tell you, his mom would say he's got one foot in heaven, bro. And he would just, the last couple of years, he would just beg us to, send him home, like, take me home. Dad, he could write, he couldn't write, he could type, and it would take him a long time, but he'd type, Daddy, send me home, and he'd tell me, I can wrestle in heaven. I have a wife in heaven. Send me home.
Wow.
Kill me.
Wow.
Please kill me. And he'd tell me sometimes, Daddy, do you remember me? It's Tyler. Do you remember who I am? I'm like, yeah, I know who you are. And, and he'd just say, Dad, if you remember who I am, send me home. Please kill me,
God,
Yeah, it was fucking, it was Dude, it was bad because that's all I want to do.
Right.
And that's all I want to do is fucking relieve them of that pain, you know.
How are you dealing with it?
Dude, so I did miss a step. So right when this shit happened, immediately I was just devastated. I went back to TJ's house, and he was like I never went back to the house that we lived in together.
Mm-hmm.
Like never go back there. Went to TJ, and TJ was like, he's like, here. And someone was there, and I'm like, bro, fuck. And I was just like, I couldn't believe it. And what was going on. And one of his friends was there, and he was like, hey, it's going to be okay. And I'm like, how the fuck is it going to be okay, bro? Right. It ain't going to be okay. How in the fuck is it going to? No, bro, it'll be okay. How the fuck can you tell me it's going to be okay? And, and I couldn't sleep, and TJ had some surgery or something. He had Vicodin. And he's all, here, take one of these. Oh, shit. And I'd never took that shit before. And I took one. And as soon as I took that pill, I felt like everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, buddy.
I swear to God. And he goes, these are happy pills, bro. And it was. That was
your escape.
For people wired like us.
My goddamn escape.
Right.
And as long as I took those pills, I could sit in there and watch my son die.
It didn't have to feel.
Didn't have to. Dude, it's all right. It's going to be okay. I could lie, tell people, he's going to be okay. And like that guy was telling me, it's going to be okay. When I knew before the pills, how the fuck's it going to be okay? But when I took those pills, it's going to be okay. And that started my goddamn.
That started the run.
The run. And it took years of that to transpire. But that was my start of learning that if I can stay fucked up,
medicated,
it's going to be okay.
Medicated.
It's going to be okay. Like if I'm drunk, if I'm whatever high, it's going to be okay. And I didn't, because at one point, even through taking the medication stuff, I would stop because I knew I couldn't take care of Tyler like that because he did come home, and I brought him home, and I had to take care of him.
He was living primarily with you.
He was with me full time.
Right.
I had, so I wouldn't let him go. Would be like, let me have my kid, and I'd be like, fuck you. That's my kid. This is my burden. And because we were close like that.
Right.
And that's all, anyways. So I would quit, and I wouldn't take the pills or nothing, and I wouldn't drink, and I would just, I would get through with him what I had to, but it was fucking devastating. It was the most horrific pain I've ever fucking felt in my life. And I would beg at night, God, please take my life. I would beg him every night with Tyler laying next to me in bed. God, please, please take me. Please, please, please. And I would just beg.
You want him to take you.
Me.
Because
take me out of here. Take me to heaven. And I swear to God, bro, God came to me one night, stone sober. I wasn't on pills. And he came into my room like a light. And I was going to church. I was heavily involved with our pastor.
At that time. Okay, so you weren't
River Oak Grace. No, I was doing the deal. I was trying to get through this.
But you weren't involved in any kind of sobriety recovery or anything.
I went to AA for without any sponsors or anything. But I would go.
You white knuckled it.
Yeah, I wouldn't white knuckled it. I'd go to the Celebrate Recoveries. I would go.
Right.
You know what I mean? Through my church, through River Oak Grace.
Right. So, God, I love the story. So, because God came to you.
So literally God came into my room as a light, and it got bigger, came to the door of my room, and I'm laying there, and I was half asleep, and I was like, God, as I'm begging him to take my life, and he goes, hey, come on, you're coming with me. And I literally was laying in my bed. I started floating out of my body. And I floated up about 2 feet, and I could look through the walls, and I could see Tyler. I could see, my family in there. And I was like, wait, God, wait. And I stopped right there. I said, how am I dead? He goes, you just died. You just had a heart attack. You're coming home. Don't worry about it. And I'm floating up. This is what you want. And I said, what about my kids? And he goes, don't worry about it. You're leaving them now. And I go, no, I can't. I'm not ready. I want to take care of my kids. And he dropped me right back in my body and said, said, don't ever, ever ask for me to take your life. Don't ever take no one's life. Don't ever, this is not your life. You work for me now. This is what you have.
Wow.
And you stay here and do it. And I was like, okay, like, I got this, like, and, he left my room. And the one thing he said when he's leaving the room, he said, hey, ask Chad, who was my pastor. He goes, ask Chad what Jesus told his disciples. And I was like, okay, whatever that still means to that day, but that did happen. And so.
Did you ever ask Chad?
I asked Chad. He said it was, he goes, well, Jesus told his disciples to pick up your cross and follow me.
Right.
So that's what, I tried to do my best as I could. And I, felt, but the one thing was hard through all that right there is the last couple of years of Tyler's life. He did beg me to take his life and I wanted to so bad, but I found it very twisted that God would tell me not to take my kid's life. And he's good, but he's going to have my kid sitting here begging me every day to fucking do it. Like, what is that shit?
Yeah, it's just brutal to think about that as a parent, to have your kid, laying there. I mean, I can't even, anybody that can say they've been through that, I can't even fathom.
Well, they'd
that,
have
Jason.
to have, like, you go to,
there's a handful.
Well, we talk about, you go to Jessica's house and when we got there, you're like, nobody knows. And there's people in that's what that house is about.
We all know.
Yeah.
And everybody in that club knows.
Yeah.
But you've been able to bless people with that story. And and if anybody I know this is Recovery Unfiltered. If anybody hears sniveling and stuff, that's just, I've heard the story.
Right.
I got to walk with him, but I'm over here crying out.
Jason, Rob was very, Rob knew Tyler very well. As much as I knew Jason, I never knew Tyler. I never knew his kids. I mean, I knew him and his first wife very well. I mean, his first wife was very close friends with me. Her sister was very close friends with me. So I knew all that. But when all this happened, obviously I heard it through my kids because our kids were a little bit of the same age. I think my oldest was a little bit ahead of Tyler. My youngest was just a little bit behind him. So obviously they all had friends. And then my oldest is now her husband was wrestling with Tyler and was running in that same crowd.
Yeah.
So,
hey, you probably don't remember, Larry, but probably 3 months before the wreck, you reffed one of Tyler's tougher wrestling matches at the GW Wingo.
I did.
You did. In the back,
I do not remember
in the back
that.
Gym.
I do not remember.
Dude, this is your kid because it was a JV tournament. He couldn't make the weight certification. So when he finally did, that was the first tournament that popped up, and he went to it, and he ran through everybody, but he got one tough kid that gave him a real fight. And
I was ref.
You reffed it. You're like, damn, your kid's tough, man. That was a tough match. I know you don't remember.
No, absolutely not.
Your kid's tough. Like, that's a surprise.
Yeah.
Right. Like I had, like there's any doubt.
Yeah.
But the reason I get emotional, one, because we got, when we go to parties and birthdays and we go to, Bonnie's cousins, my wife, we get to see Tyler at those things.
Yeah.
But the after story that I got to be a part of
is
why is the joy that's coming.
Yeah, we're gonna get into a little bit more of that, but what I'm gonna do is we're gonna pick this up again, Jason.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold over a little bit. We're gonna shut this down right now, Rob. Anything you want to say before we close?
No.
So what happened right now? We're just got the first part of Jason. We're leading up to when the rails are about ready to come off, right, Jason?
Yep, for sure.
The best part's coming up. Yeah. Come back next week and be a part of this. Jason, you've been a great guest. I can't wait to see you on the second part of this. Rob, what do you think?
I'm ready.
Thanks.
All right, come back next week.
You good, brother?
This has been Recovery Unfiltered. Thank you so much. If you want to get in touch with us, you can reach us at Recovery Unfiltered, Rob and Larry at gmail.com. What is it, Rob?
Rob and the letter N, Larry, not Rob and Larry. I don't know why he did that. And I'm not on any social media yet, but I'm going to work on it.
Take care. Thank you for joining us today.
We hope you learned something today that will help you.
If you did not, come back next week and we'll try again.
If you like what we heard, give us a 5-star review. If you don't like what you heard, kiss my... You can't say that, can you? Anyway, if you don't like what you heard, go ahead and tell us that too. We'll see what we can improve. We probably won't change nothing, but Do it anyway.
Hey, thanks, Rob. Come back next week, and hopefully something will be different and something will sink in.
This has been Recovery Unfiltered.